Well, the weatherman came around about the right time. The golf season is now over. In fact, he'd mentioned a little bit about snow coming up this weekend, and the men's team finished out their season this past weekend. Matt Gehring is joining us once again as we wrap up wrap up a season, not a brand new year. But It was 2 days of good, bad, and ugly, I guess. In some ways.
Yeah. It was a week where we kind of let the opportunity slip through our hands a little bit. We played at the Defiance College Invitational. They hosted it at a different course. Up in Northwest Ohio, Belmont Country Club, beautiful venue, arguably one of the best courses we played all year. So we got a good taste of some quality golf, but it really came down to the last 5 holes each day, and that was the tough part. We knew what we needed to do with about 5 holes to go. If we just par them out, or go one over for the entire day for Thursday and Friday, we win.
Yeah.
And I think that was the tough thing. You don't want to see the season end on a negative note like that, but I think it was kind of a double-edged sword. I think that's going to provide us with kind of the motivation and that sour taste that we got from last week to go into the off season with kind of a chip on our shoulder, knowing that we ended it in a way that we did not plan on and did not want to end it. So I think they're a little bit more goal-oriented this off-season. They know what we need to do to get better for the spring.
You said to me off the air that was a chance for you to win that thing, right?
It really was. We were in, like I said, with about 5 holes to go. Through I think it was 13 holes the first day. We were in great shape. Yeah. A few blunders coming down the stretch. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from the course. 16, 17, and 18 they're tough holes.
Yeah.
17 was 108 or 190 yard. Par 3 with a hazard that runs in the front and you can't miss on that hole. And 18 was a little dogleg right, a tree on the left-hand side that kind of didn't allow you to hit it to the left, and then a pond on the right, and the wind was blowing left to right.
Wow.
So I think everybody that first day went into the water on 18.
No kidding. I'm
pretty positive, at least if not everybody, the majority of the team went in the water. So you can't have mistakes like that if you want to win. Defiance ended up winning. They played, they played decent, but I know that we, with 5 holes to go, we had it and we let it slip.
Yeah. What does that do to a team? As you said, you're going to hopefully use it as motivation,
right.
But you got to sit and wait now. You can't come back next week, so it's something that kind of sticks in you for a while.
Well, the nice thing is, so last week we voted on team captain.
Okay.
Matt Truex, who's a sophomore, was named team captain by a vote on the team. So he's going to be kind of running, he's going to be kind of my eyes and ears in the off season. So he's going to be running the off season stuff. And I think that everybody knows what we're capable of because we've shown moments of brilliance this season. And I think everybody knows what we're capable of doing as a team. It's just a matter of about piecing everything together and kind of becoming more consistent.
Right.
So I think that what last week showed is that if we're not off, we're not a team that can have an off day and still go out to win. There are some teams in Division III in the country that can have an off day and they're still good enough that they can still go out and compete for a championship. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
We can get there, and it's a matter about them putting in the work this off season to get their games in shape, to get their bodies in shape and their minds right for next spring. I think we have the pieces in place and kind of the program set in place for the off season that it should produce some results for the spring. But it's a matter about how hard everybody wants to work. As me being hands off, I can't push anybody to do anything in the off season. So it's really on them, it's on the captains, it's on the upperclassmen to push everybody to kind of get to that point that they're constantly improving and progressing towards the spring season.
And you have that feeling that, well, maybe I'll ask you, do you have the feeling they'll do that?
I do.
Okay.
I do. We all have one common goal, and that's to win a conference championship. Everybody from number 1 on the lineup all the way down to 13, we all have the same goal in mind. It's just when you're not pushed, you can become complacent.
Yeah.
But I think the upperclassmen have the desire to push the freshmen to work hard in the off season. They voted on Matt to be a team captain for a reason. He leads by example, and they put their trust in him. And I put, myself and the rest of the coaching staff, we put our trust in him that he's going to be able to push the guys to work hard in the off season. So I mean, we've got from when they're going to start off season, which is about another week and a half, to the start of the spring season, we got 11 weeks. Okay. So
that's not much,
it's not much. 11 weeks of them being on campus, I should say. There's times where they're not on campus that we don't count, but there's 11 weeks that they're on campus until we have our first practice in February. So time will tell.
Yeah, boy, no kidding. Well, now the one thing I do know is each individual has different things to work on. So do you have some kind of a game plan for each one of them? Do you write it out for them and say, here's what I need to see you improve on before you come back?
We do that during the season. Okay. They'll come to me and I can only see them so much in practice. We've got a large number of players. I can only see them. So they know that if they need to work on something individually in practice, they know that they can come to me and we'll work on it. In the off season, it's really up to them to get their games right. So in here, we can work on chipping, we can work on pitch shots, putting, full swing. But as far as the course management side, even sand shots, those are the things that are a little bit more difficult for us to work on. So those are the things that we hit pretty hard once we can get outside. But they know what they need to work on. I mean, they're adults at this point, 18, 19-year-olds. They have to have a certain level of accountability and responsibility for themselves. Yeah. So they know what they need to work on, and it's a matter of them putting in the time and dedication to improve.
And again, with this facility, there's really no excuse, is there?
There really isn't. I mean, the building, of course on the weekends, the building's only open varied hours. But during the week, I mean, it's open 5:30 to 11. Yeah. So you can't tell me that they can't tell me that they're in their room studying for 9 or 10 hours a day. Yeah. I mean, they're here for their academics, but I went to college. I know what it's like. So they do have time that they can come in here and work. It's just a matter about managing their time, not falling behind in the classroom, but managing their time and making sure they get in here and they get the work in. Because the thing that we've preached is that they're not playing for themselves.
Right.
That's only part of it. They're playing for the school and they're playing for the other guys on the team. Yeah. So they need to come in here not just for themselves to improve, but to improve for the team and to improve so that the school feels a level of pride with the product that we put on the golf course every week.
This is still a relatively young program. You've done, I think, a tremendous job in a short amount of time to put this whole thing together and make it competitive. Give me an evaluation of where you feel the program is.
I mean, like I said, as a coach, you're never, unless you win, you're never satisfied. And I think the players are that way too. If we don't win or we don't compete on the weekends, we're not satisfied. From a startup program, I think we're ahead of the curve.
Okay.
I truly think that we have the leadership. Our players have had to grow up fast. Last year with having 5 freshmen play, you have to grow up fast. You're playing against juniors and seniors. It's a different game. It's a different mindset. Yeah. Those players come in having that experience, having that leadership that they can then give to the freshmen. And some of our freshmen got some playing experience this year too. So they're going to be ahead of the curve from where they're at. I mean, we were competing with teams that have been established. Yeah. So from that standpoint, I'm so happy and I'm so proud of the guys that were able to do that. But in the same sense, we did show our teeth that we were sophomores and freshmen and sometimes during the year. So, golf's not a game of perfection. It's a game of minimizing mistakes. And we just have to keep going into every practice with that mindset of we don't have to hit every shot perfect, but we just have to minimize our misses and minimize our mistakes. And once the guys can do that, as long as they put the work in, the sky's the limit.
And let me touch quickly on the women before we quit today's show. And in fact, we won't see each other till next spring.
Right.
So this is our last opportunity to talk. But the women's program, too, is making strides as well.
Very much so. No, very much so. I'm so proud of the way they worked this season. There was times of frustration, where I was frustrated with them. They were frustrated with me. But, injuries and illness, you're in college. So it's kind of like a petri dish of all different kinds of stuff. So we battled a lot of different things together this year, but I think they came together at the end of the season, and I'm really anxious to see what they can do in the spring. From last fall to last spring, there was a very steep incline in improvement with the girls. So as long as they're willing to put the work in, much like the guys, as long as they're willing to put the work in, they can do some serious things next spring. And we have a schedule set up that I think they're going to have some success. The nice part about us is we're taking everybody into our spring season, or a lot of the times with an established program, if they've got seniors, they won't necessarily play them in the spring if they aren't a qualifying team to nationals just because they want to get the the lower classmen to get that experience. So we bring everybody into the spring season except Brittany. Brittany Chong plays lacrosse, so she won't be with us in the spring. But we bring our top 4, top 5 back basically. So I think we have that as an advantage. And of course, the expectations with the women are always there too. You know, we're looking to improve, but we also want to go in and we want to compete every single weekend. I mean, you come to college, you know, for your academics, but when you come here as a student athlete, you come here to compete for tournament wins and championships. So I think everybody's bought into that, and they're going to use the off season to get ready for the spring.
It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Good to see you again.
Thanks,
sir.
Troy. Appreciate everything.
Matt Gehring joining us, and of course, once next spring rolls around, you said around February, right?
Middle of February, we start practice.
Yeah, and of course, I'm sure there'll still be some snow on the ground at that time, so we'll see how these guys handle it. But we'll be back then, and of course, talk more about men's and women's golf. I always invite you to go to the Earlham website if there's some news, maybe in the off season. Matt will share that with Mitch Blancaspor, and they'll get it on the website. Plus, I'm sure he'll share it with us as well, and we'll get it on our website as well as we keep updated on men's and women's golf here at Earlham College. Hey, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next spring right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.